Hi, buddy. Welcome to the end of History 4797. My research paper I focused on the interplay between Western culture and the economic development of Japan and South Korea post World War II. And the whole premise of this is based on the mutual security efforts that emerged after World War II under Harry Truman and then Dwight D. Eisenhower that looked at fostering peace through the earth through democratization and economic development. And there were four main programs under mutual security that these initiatives were pursued. One was the support of international organizations like the United Nations, NATO. Second was financial aid to countries in need. You saw that like in Greece and Turkey early on after World War II. That's where that idea got started, at least post-World War II wise. You had the military advice and assistance. The idea was if a country could support itself militarily, it could defend itself, then it could be secure. And then ultimately, the fourth, which was the point four of Truman's four-point program, was the sharing of technological development with other countries. The idea was that could spur economic growth. So, in a nutshell, if a country was democratized and it was freedom-loving, the people had a voice in government, they had a strong economy and a way to defend themselves and a voice on the international stage, then you would have peace, essentially. Good idea. And Western Europe showed a lot of success. The Marshall Plan, Greece and efforts in Greece and Turkey showed a lot of progress in Western Europe. Eisenhower took Truman's ideas and kind of expanded them into the Far East, where you had the fall of China, to communist China, you had the Korean War, and you also had the issues of Japan post-World War II. So my question that I'm looking at is, what role did Western culture or the acceptance of Western culture play into the successes of Japan and South Korea? Today, I fast forward the clock to about the mid-1970s, the 30-year mark of post-World War II, and saw where the Japanese South Korean economies were at that point, and they had progressed at an amazing rate. At that point, Japan had the second biggest economy in the world. South Korea was behind, but had caught up dramatically. And today you have two strong allies. Essentially what you have in Japan and South Korea today are two examples of mutual security success. That's exactly what the vision was of Harry Truman and Eisenhower, and even today. You take a look at Afghanistan, that is a nation-building effort. So from a larger perspective, not in this class, but my ultimate dissertation will focus on places like Vietnam and Afghanistan and juxtapose those with like Japan and South Korea to find out where culture played a role. So looking at Japan, for instance, you go back to 1600, you have the arrival of the Dutch, and for several centuries you have this kind of plug-and-play relationship between the Japanese and the Dutch. But what did happen over time was Dutch ideas, Dutch science, particularly in medicine, began to matriculate through Japanese society. Some of the shoguns under the Tokugawa dynasty were more progressive. While they did not allow foreigners into Japan, they were in some cases, were very open to learning about Dutch science. Dutch books matriculated. This created a change in how land was owned. These ideas kind of spurred some more additional mercantilism that led to the growth of family-led kind of corporations called zaibatsu. One of the original zaibatsu got involved in copper and learned copper smelting from a Western trader. These zaibatsu carried on through the age of the Meiji dynasty into Imperial Japan, and became kind of a foundation of Japan's economy pre and post World War II. That all had roots back to Dutch learning. For the South Koreans, theirs was more of a militaristic focus, but they began to get exposed to Western ideas through Japanese military training, and then during and after the Korean War, working with Americans, who advised and assisted Korean forces during during the Korean War, which built a lot of bonds that began to change the Korean military. Then after the Korean War, you had kind of a fostering and building of Korean military institutions, particularly the Korean Military Academy, where the Korean Military Academy began to produce a lot of reform-minded young Korean officers. The whole Korean Military Academy was based on West Point and kind of American instruction and American methodology. By 1961, you have a coup that overthrows, well, there was a student-led government for about a year that overthrew the dictatorial regime. But the 1961 coup was brought on by these officers that came through this Korean Military Academy, and then they brought a bunch of reforms. One of those was the Chaebol, who were South Koreans' own corporations, and they then kind of began to industrialize and formed the basis of Korean economy. So that's a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time, I know. But ultimately, there was Western connections to both Japan and South Korea, and that's what I was trying to create from a cultural perspective. Anyway, good luck, everybody. Thank you. Bye.